All right. Today we're going to dig into the mayoral debate in Toronto 6 months ago. Spoiler alert, Olivia Chow, who used to be Jack Layton's partner, the former Layton? Former leader of the New Democratic Party, aka Socialists. So, Canadian politics extremely left leaning.
Center, and a
Let's
special
get into
welcome
it.
to you if you're listening on CBC Radio and CBC Listen. I'm Marivel Tarouk, host of CBC Toronto News at 6. Okay, everyone, there's less than 3 weeks to go before Election Day. So today,
Oh boy.
we've brought together 5 people who are all vying for Toronto's top job. Former Scarborough MPP Mitzi Hunter is with us today. Welcome, Mitzi.
For having me.
Hi,
City
Mitzi.
Councillor Josh Matlow joins us too. Hi, Josh.
Hi, nice to be here.
Thanks for being here. A former councillor and MP Olivia Chow is also here. Welcome, Olivia.
Good day.
Former Toronto Police Chief Mark Saunders sitting next to Olivia. Hello.
All very serious candidates.
And finally, we've got former City Councillor Anna Bila. Welcome, Anna.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
We have also invited, I should note, candidate Brad Bradford, but he and his wife have just welcomed a new baby, so they're taking a bit of a break from the campaign trail. All right, on to today's business. We've divided up our conversation today into 3 parts. We're going to start with some questions on housing, and then our municipal affairs reporter, Sean Jeffords, will join us for part 2. Sean's going to have questions based on his reporting on the candidates and their campaigns. Our final segment will be questions about the state of our city and the solutions the candidates have proposed in their platforms. Sprinkled in between, we'll try to give you a chance to get to know the candidates beyond their platforms, as people, as Torontonians. Before we begin, some ground rules to explain to our audience and for the candidates in this first segment. If during your answer you make a claim about one of your opponents and directly by name, we will give that candidate an opportunity to respond. Though please try to limit it and try to stick to the time that you're given, because if you do, that leaves us with some time for fun questions, like the one we're going to kick things off with. You have a friend visiting from out of town. What is the one thing they must do while they are in our beautiful city? And you have 20 seconds each
Wow.
to answer this question.
That is such a
Nancy Hunter,
stupid
let's start
question.
with you.
Okay, well, of course, I'm from Scarborough, so let's take a walk on the Scarborough Bluffs and just really enjoy the
Walk on the
beautiful
bluffs,
natural beach and beautiful water. And then, of course, maybe we'll just swing by Twice as Nice on Kingston Road and have some jerk chicken, very authentic. And, maybe we'll just hop on the subway, come downtown. You've got to see the heart of our city, the art, the culture, and the vibrancy. That's my visit. That's my visit.
Mitzi, you got
homeless
a
people.
whole list there for us. Thank you for that. Next, let's go to Mark Saunders. 20 seconds. What's the one thing your guests must do?
Well, great, and thanks for asking. I spent most of my time living in Toronto in the West End, and Hyde Park is beautiful, and especially during cherry blossom season. But also, it's family friendly too because you have to. So, I love Hyde
If
Park.
there was
I spent a lot of
ever
time there.
any evidence needed that the CBC should be privatized, sold off, this debate is certainly it.
Street and take a beautiful ferry ride to the Toronto Islands and rent a bike, rent a canoe, and just hang out. It's a beautiful place, especially in the summer. Bring your kids too.
Okay, all right. Josh Matlow, the one thing your guests must do while they're here.
Along with the urban vitality that we have, I would want to take them through our ravine system. You can walk through every
This guy's got a
one of
huge nose.
ravines, get right down to the waterfront.
Anybody else seeing that?
Just
It's like a beak.
pop out in a random neighborhood and experience the local restaurants and community.
All right. Final candidate for this question.
Toronto
Anna
is a
Bila.
pretty kick-ass
What
city,
is the
though.
one thing you'd want your guests to do?
I have a lot of experience on this. I've had lots of family coming to visit and friends coming to visit. So one must is always the CN Tower. I think that's the symbol that we all have. I had back home when my family was going back, take to the CN Tower. But I always
the
like to
CN
take them
Tower.
back to Scarborough Bluffs because they're so surprised to see something like that in a large city like Toronto. And they're always amazed with Scarborough Bluffs. And the hike is always very enjoyable.
There we go. Get outside. I think everyone's ready to get summer going too. It sounds like. Thank you all candidates for those suggestions. Now, one thing also that candidates agree
Can we
on
please talk
is
about
that
policy?
Toronto has a housing crisis, and fixing it will require urgency from all levels of government, but especially the
Yeah,
city.
rents
Right
in
now,
Toronto
it's
are
probably
insane.
the number one affordability issue in the city, whether you're renting or trying to buy a home, even trying to pay your mortgage. So let's talk about housing platforms, candidates, shall we? First, another quick question for each of you. By the end of your first term,
I mean, the solution's
how
really
many
simple.
housing units
You just have
will you
to
realistically
get rid of
started
all these
to build?
regulations
So
that
you
are
have 30
preventing
seconds to
housing
answer
from
this
being
question.
built.
And Olivia Chow, we'll begin with you.
In 1 minute?
30 seconds
30
for
seconds.
this one.
Ah, okay.
It's a quick one.
All right. Probably 10,000. But Nixon, this is only for building, but 1,000 that would be rent supplement, because right now people need housing immediately. And
The problem
rent
with these
supplement for
government
5,000,
cheap rent
10,000
places
house,
is
Thank you.
a lot of the time
Olivia.
they don't necessarily go to poor people, they go to like politically connected people.
In your first term.
Well, realistically, it's a matter of looking at the existing process, changing the existing process, making sure that the right resources are in place, having the right
Speak up, bro.
necessary tools. But I guarantee you that once I get in, the rate of building is going to be faster than ever before because it is a priority. It is what has caused this homeless issue. It has caused
I will will it to happen.
right now that we're facing, and I'm looking forward to that opportunity.
Thank you, Mark Saunders. Anna Bailau, for you, 30 seconds.
Well, I'm committed to building a 285,000 by 2031.
By my own hands.
I went further. I want 57,000 of that as purpose-built rental, and we'll start developing on that through planning and zoning reform, so it happens quicker and we start to uptick. And also,
All right, zoning
accelerate the
reform.
process by breaking down
That's
zoning
good.
by City Hall.
Okay, thank you, Anna Bailau. We'll shift over here, Josh Matlow, for you. Your first term, how many housing units will you have realistically started to build? 30 seconds.
I'd honestly be making up an exact number because there's no way that you can predict that.
Why don't you say the government doesn't build housing, dumbass?
Housing units with our Public Build Toronto initiative, where we are going to be building housing on public lots, on underutilized properties that the city owns. And it'll be a combination of market, but with rent control, along with rent geared to income, affordable, deeply affordable housing, along with below market. But the reality is that no one can honestly tell you. They can come up with a number, but they can't tell you the exact one yet.
Thank you, Josh. And final one for you, Mitzi. 30 seconds. How many affordable housing units will you build in your first?
Well, of all the candidates, I have the most affordable housing units committed in my plan. It's a real plan. And in the first phase, which is 6 years, I will be building 22,000 units of affordable housing. And this is over 108 projects, which includes 2 and 3 bedroom units for families with parks and parkettes, playgrounds, and retail below, so that we can have libraries, public health offices for well baby clinics. This is about building and creating neighborhoods, and that's what Toronto needs. And this is
Yeah, I like that mixed use more.
to developers.
And that's time, Mitzi. Thank you so much. The city already has a program, you're all aware of this, it's called Housing Now, which offers up city-owned land to developers who will then agree to put up buildings that include affordable housing. However, not a single unit of affordable housing has been built in the 4 years that it's existed. And on top of that, the program is in some serious financial trouble. So our question next for you candidates is, should the city of Toronto act as a developer and build its own housing? So yes or no to that question.
No.
And you'll have 1 minute to explain why. We started with Olivia in the last section.
Just the government shouldn't be involved in the housing sector. That's the market's role.
The short answer is no. Builders build. City government is responsible for creating the environment to make sure that it's built.
My man.
Look at the history and the fact that we cannot build. When we look at independent reviews that scored the City of Toronto last, I want to move it to first. And that's by leadership, and it's by making sure the process within itself is proper, making sure that it takes 1 year for approvals, sticking a navigator in that process to make sure that the approval's not sitting on a desk anywhere, and making sure that there's accountability. Accountability to make sure we hit the
Typical
timeline,
problem,
make
too
sure
much government red tape,
is meeting the
too much regulations,
digitized.
and
Make sure that their
too much zoning issues.
the mark and make sure we hit that target of 40,000 affordable housing units within that 10-year mark that has already been stated.
All right, thank you. And a bylaw for you, yes or no? Should the city act as a developer and build more housing?
We need all hands on decks. We need the builders, we need the nonprofits, we need 3 orders of government. That's how you're going to build housing, not adding more bureaucracy. What we need is to make sure that we have the processes in place, the supports and the relationships with the other orders of government as well. We've built some supportive housing in the city of Toronto, but the thousands of units that we need, and there's supply that is needed.
I like this lady.
affordable
She
housing
seems
that is
serious.
needed, and there's supportive housing that is needed. All these 3 things are different, and they are to be developed in different way. And we need the builders at the table and the nonprofits at the table, as well as the 3 orders of government.
Okay, thank you. Josh Matlow, your opportunity to weigh in.
It's just, I don't believe it's fair to Torontonians to just make up numbers about how many units are going to be built, because housing now, as you said correctly, has been a failure. After the past few years since it was announced, not a single shovel has been put into the ground. The Public Build Toronto initiative comes from a motion that I moved at council, and I want to implement it, and I'm going to be determined to do so as mayor. We're going to be having a public builder, rather than rest on the private sector, to build deeply affordable and market and below market rate rental on city lands. We can do it because we're not going to rely on the private sector to put up the risk and the equity, which they have not done thus far. But I agree that we also need to work with the private sector to make sure that they are building housing units that have affordable options for people throughout the city.
All right, let's move it along. Next topic.
Supplements and other factors are going to be able to holistically address the housing crisis to the best the city can contribute. But to say that there's going to be one silver bullet or one solution isn't right. To make up numbers isn't fair. And the reality is there's a large number of things that we need to do to address housing affordability, because people cannot live in the city, whether it be rent or even dream to own a home.
Thank you. Josh Matlow.
The city needs real leadership when it comes to the housing file, and that has to happen with the city becoming the builder. The city has to be both the owner and quarterback here. We can't just leave it up to developers, because you get more of the same as what you've explained with housing now. Not a single, no one's living in those units. And in fact, the signs are all up, but nothing's happening. Under my plan, which
All right, let's talk about the homeless people and the junkies already.
in housing, and it is based on a realistic approach where we unlock the public lands that the city already owns and starts building. And these are mid-size, so it's 10, 15, and 20 stories, and creating that infilling that we need within neighborhoods, within
The infamous missing middle.
It's an absolute real plan that has been put together, it's costed, it's timelined, and it's based on realistic assumptions.
Just quickly though, I just want some clarification. Yes or no to being a developer?
Yes, the city will be the builder. Absolutely. We can't just leave it up to others, because we see it's just more of the same. And that's what I'm hearing. And also, what about the history? You know, in the 1960s and 70s, of course, we built affordable and public housing. The city knows how to do that. It doesn't mean that there are not partnerships, but it means that the city will control and continue to own those lands.
Got to wrap it up there, Mitzi. Thank you. Olivia Chow, last one to answer this question. Yes or no, should the city be a developer and provide housing?
Yes, because we used
my
to do
God.
that. We built 32,000 units of housing. Right now, there are 90,000 households. That's enough people to fill 2 stadiums waiting for affordable housing. That's how desperate it is, because the city has walked away from its responsibility for over a decade. And we have to come back and build. Why? It is our moral responsibility to do so. I know of people that are so desperately waiting for affordable housing, and the wait list is so long that it takes 10, 12, 13 years for families to move in. And a third of them are seniors. And I know seniors like Yang that said to me, Olivia, we wait till we might not be able to walk anymore in order to get into affordable housing. Yes, we need to get back to housing, building it.
Thank you, Olivia. Thank you, candidates, for weighing in on that very important issue. We're going to switch gears now and do a rapid fire quiz for everyone. So we don't need to spend a lot of time
Oh
on
boy.
this. This is quick. I think you'll all pass, though. Maybe I'll go out on a limb there. This is really all about your local favorites. And so that's what we're going to ask you. And it's a real, it's open. I'll give you the category. You give me your favorite, okay? Josh Matlow, why don't we start with you? Your favorite Toronto patio.
My favorite patio would be, honestly, the Black Bull, because it is the first patio, typically. I don't know if it always is the first, but typically the first one that opens up when the weather gets a little nicer. Even when people are wrapped up in sweaters or blankets, they go out there and have a beer and just enjoy the potential of spring.
The Black Bull, okay. Mitzi Hunter,
Okay,
let's
this is
go
too
with you. Your
painful. I
favorite
can't
Toronto
listen
street.
anymore. Jesus
Oh, wow.
Christ, this is so bad.
Oh my God.
Let's check out the Wikipedia entry. So why did John Tory leave? Oh, scandal. Got caught with the live girl. Okay, so Olivia Chow defeated 99 other candidates. Man, they just bring out all the crazies at election time. Mayoral debates. What was the vote? Let's see the vote. Oh my god, that's a lot of debates. Endorsements. Alright. 37% of the vote. Was that Annabella? Was she the green lady from the debate? I don't even... No, I don't recognize her. Maybe. Former deputy mayor. Not surprising that Chow would win, though. She's a pretty big figure in the progressive scene and strong support in the progressive community. Former member of parliament, city councilor.